Welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we are going to be filtering out some infused oils. Make sure, if you haven't already, to check out my video called How to Make Herbal Infused Oils. That will show you the whole beginning process of this stage. It will teach you how to make infused oils, how to properly set up an environment for them to infuse very well. These have been sitting for 6 weeks on a heated seed mat, and so they are definitely ready to be strained today. I have 13 different herbs to strain, and as you can see, I only have 4 stations set up. I actually do have 8 jelly bags in my possession, but they do have to be washed and dried, thoroughly dried in between each new one. So if I'm going to put calendula in here today, then after I'm done and I remove the herbs, I have to wash it and I have to dry it before we can strain another batch. It's super important that no water comes into contact with any of your oils. Otherwise, you're just risking the oil going rancid very quickly and ruining all of your hard work and time. So we're going to start with my 4 stations here. It might take me a while to get through all 13. Of course, I will not put you through watching me do all 13. We're just going to do 4 together here today. In case you're new here, all of these infused oils, the herbs that are in here, are medicinal herbs. They can be used for making salves, they can be used for making balms, chapsticks, things like that. They can also be used just as is as a massage oil. All right, so what are you going to need on hand? I like to use jelly bags for my strain. You can use cheesecloth or whatever kind of straining method you prefer. I like the jelly bags because number one, they're easy to clean. They're designated, so if they get stained, it's not that big of a deal. Reusable is really important to me. Let's see, what else? I have these stands. So these jelly straining stands, they come with the bags, but you can also buy extra bags separately, which is nice. You're gonna need jars. I prefer glass jars with a plastic lid. Oil has a way, even if it's not up to the tippy top, it will still seep out. It's just the nature of oil. I find that the plastic lids work the best. It really doesn't matter what kind of lid you put on it, it's still going to seep out a little bit. So when you store your jars, I like to store them in a like a box, like those flat, shallow boxes that you get mason jars in. That's what I store my infused oils in once they've been strained, and that just protects ultimately the surface that they're sitting on. And you're gonna need something to pour the oils in. You can put your jar just like right underneath here, but I like the wide surface area of the measuring cup as opposed to the regular mouth here. I just tend to make less, even though I'm technically making more work for myself because I've got to wash these, right? But it's okay, this is how I do it. There might be more ways that you can streamline this process if you're doing it for yourself. And of course, I'm just working in small batches. If you were doing a commercial thing, this would not be the video for you, but if you're just making infused oils at home, I think this is a really good straining process. And last but not least, you're going to need some kind of a label. I use dissolvable labels, and I put them on the lid because remember, like I had mentioned, the oil does have a tendency to seep out, and if you use a dissolvable label, you won't be able to see what's written on it after like a couple months. Another thing you can do if you definitely want it to be in the front, depending on how you're displaying them, if having it on the lid is not going to work for your situation, a waterproof and oil-proof label on the front is also an option. I had used this jar for something else. I had used it for yarrow at one point, and This is a very effective label, you guys. Not only did it not fall off or dissolve of any kind, and you can still read it, and this was like years and years and years ago, but also I can't get this sucker off. I can't get it off to save my life. And I'm sure if I used some kind of a high-powered chemical or like paint remover maybe, I could get it off, but I don't care. I don't care about it because I'm gonna put a label on the lid and I'm gonna know that it's not yarrow. So make sure you have something to label these, because once the herbs come out, I mean, we can tell that this is calendula like really easily, but once this comes out, you're not gonna have any idea what it is. A lot of these herbs are very pungent, like the chamomile here. You'll be able to smell that this is chamomile, but there are some herbs, like the feverfew here. It's beautiful, dark in color, but it doesn't smell like a whole lot. So the labels are important. Let's get to it. Okay, I'm gonna start with the calendula here. And I'm gonna get this started and try not to put too much in there. I don't want my 1 cup to overfill. And then I'll set this in front here just so I don't get anything mixed up in my process. And we'll do chamomile in this one while that one is straining down. It does take quite some time for all of the oil to filter through, and we don't want to lose any in the process. Okay, I've got a very pretty chickweed here. Bright green, we'll do that one next. And how about some dandelion? Now, it's going to take a few minutes for these to strain down, and once our cups on the bottom are full, we'll transfer them into our new jars and make sure the label is on the lid. After that is done, we're going to take all of these herbs inside these baskets and we're going to put them on the compost pile. I have received this question before, so I'm going to address it in this video. The oil that's remaining on the herbs is not going to make your compost smell really disgusting. I'm sure most of you know what rancid oil smells like, and I have never had a problem with it. If you compost in a very tiny container on your kitchen counter, you might have more of a problem with a smell, but I've got a big giant compost contraption. It's like made out of pallets, wood pallets. And I've never noticed any smell or odor coming from there, from anything I've put in there. Obviously, I only put in kitchen scraps, vegetable scraps. I don't put raw meat, or I don't put grass clippings where the dogs have pooped in there or anything like that. So I've never noticed any odd smell coming from my compost pile, and definitely no problem with the little bit of oil that's left on these herbs. So into the compost pile they go. I also have these cute little bowls that when I slide the measuring cup out, I put one of these underneath to catch any extra oil. You can also use the lid of your jar for that purpose, but it just makes cleanup a little bit faster if you don't have to wipe oil off your counters. Okay, and put the calendula in. And get the rest of this poured in. Okay, get my label ready. When I make my labels, I also put what kind of oil I used and the date. It's really important that you put the type of oil that you use because some people cannot have certain types of oil on their skin. I'm going to put avocado oil. If you've watched some of my really old videos, I used to use grapeseed oil as well, and I completely discontinued my line of grapeseed oil and I exclusively use olive oil now. Avocado oil, sorry. I don't use olive oil at all. I don't use grapeseed anymore either. I only use avocado oil. I found that it's the healthiest and it is the most gentle on skin, and I've never had any complaints from other, customers. There are people who might come to me and say, hey, I love your product, but I don't want to put grapeseed oil on my skin. And so we just use avocado oil. The customers love it. I love it. It's gentle on the skin. And for me, it's easy to procure. Depending on where you live, you may want to choose something else that's more economical or easier for you to find. And then you want to put the date on it because unlike tinctures, oil infusions do not last forever. I would expect that all of these oils, assuming that they have no contact with water whatsoever, will last at least 2 years. Hey, that's very pretty, and I spilled. Not only am I a messy cook, but I'm a messy herbalist. Let's pour that back in the top there. And I'm gonna let this one strain out for, I don't know, maybe 10 more minutes or so. Make sure all the oil's out. Clean up my mess. And we'll move on to the next one until we're all finished straining the oils. I will get 8 done today before I have to wash and then dry my bags. So the other ones I will do tomorrow. That took about 30 minutes for all of the infused oil to drip through the jelly bags. And now they're in their jars, and you can probably see how very similar these particular herbs look, which makes the labeling that much more important. I have some really dark ones here, and infused oils will range in color. Obviously, calendula and chamomile are very light colored herbs in of themselves, and so we will have kind of an orange looking infused oil. The oregano will be really dark. Last tip I want to give you before we go today. When it comes to washing and drying your jelly bags for infused oil, I highly recommend that you hand wash them and then line dry them. I just use dish soap, so not dishwasher soap. Just a very good dish soap really cuts through the oil and gets those bags nice and clean. I use these medicinally. If you are going to use them medicinally as well, I really highly recommend that you do not use your washing machine and your dryer and wash and dry these along with your clothes for 2 reasons: to keep the jelly bags sanitary and also to protect your clothes. If you throw in one of these bags and it's coated in oil, it's going to get on your clothes, and once you put those in the dryer, they'll be stained for life. If you're interested in trying out my salves, you can get them through my Etsy shop, which is linked down in the description. There are tons of herbal salves that I have made, even some healing lip balm. They're effective, you guys. I'm telling you, I promise you, I use them on myself. And like my nerve pain salve, for example, so grateful. God helped me crack the code on that one. I was able to get off pharmaceutical medications for the neuropathy in my feet by using my nerve salve. So consider picking up one of those if you want to. And as always, I encourage you to make your own. This is something that even you can do at home. You can do it in much smaller batches than I do. You can make your own medicine and not be reliant on a store or a pharmacy for your medical needs. And that's it for this project. I hope it was informational for you. I hope it was interesting. Please support me by going to my Etsy shop, subscribing to this channel, and becoming a member. I do not want to ever have to do promotions on this channel. I committed way back years and years ago and said I did not want to do that to you. It's bad enough that you guys have to read those ads or listen to them or whatever. I do not want to make this all about selling anything other than the things that I make here in small handcrafted batches. I don't want to start doing reviews, but you guys, I do have to keep the lights on. So help a girl out, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye!